This is the EVP Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the EVP Podcast. I'm Beaker.
Ghosty in the house.
And that's all we get.
It's just us
like I said,
again.
Yep, we're going to say it every week. I don't know why. We're slightly stupid.
It's okay.
We also forgot to smile for the camera for our picture that we post on the
social
medias. God, I'm retarded.
I was smiling.
We can smile now, so everyone can on YouTube can see us smiling for the promo picture.
I'm always smiling.
We're so damn prepared.
I'm always smiling. Though.
I forgot my camera. I'm recording on my phone this week, so if the video is better or worse,
I think it looks pretty good. Actually,
I think my phone is actually pretty good. So we'll go with that. We're professional podcasters.
Hey, it's working. It's working just
fine. It is working. Oh, by the way, I'm Beaker.
We already said
that. Do I say that?
You said it already, but guess what?
Ghosty's here. See? I don't even know where I'm at.
You're in my house.
Just making sure that you know who we are.
Yeah, I'm Ghosty.
Here at the EVP Podcast, I'm Beaker. So thanks for listening to our episode last week about the Marshall House in Savannah, Georgia.
Oh my God, I forgot everything about last week already.
Well, that's easy for you to do. I mean, you're not here half the time.
I'm too busy smiling.
Yes, you are. So yeah, this week we're going south of the border, even farther south than Mexico.
Way south.
We're going down to
Southern Hemisphere.
Going to Argentina.
Buenos Aires.
We're going to the a cemetery down there. Now I just recently found out, you were telling me while we were out getting pizza, that this is not the largest cemetery in Buenos Aires. Now, this is a pretty big-ass cemetery because it is 14 acres.
It's huge.
It is huge, right? But there's one that trumps that. I can't remember the name of it, but the other one was like 230 acres.
200. It's like La Chicharrones.
Yeah, I don't think so, but...
La Chacarita.
Yes. So that cemetery is huge, but...
That's fun to say.
The weird
say
thing... I'm good.
La Chacarita.
Good job.
Try it. Rolls off
La
your tongue.
Chacarita.
See, it rolls off your tongue.
I'm sure it does.
You did it.
I did it terribly.
No, you did it.
I apologize to
perfect.
anyone that speaks Spanish. Yeah, so it's crazy that this other cemetery is like freaking huge. But
17 times larger.
Yeah, it was, like I said, 232 acres or something like that.
230.
230 acres compared to 14 acres. And I wanted to talk about ghost stories at both these cemeteries, but whenever we did a search for the bigger one, for ghost stories, like the Google results always brought up La Recoleta. So apparently there's no ghost at the 230 acre one, just at the 14 acre one.
They just don't want you to know about those ghosts because they didn't pay enough.
Probably, well, this is true. So La Recoleta Cemetery was built in 1822, and it was the first public cemetery in Buenos Aires. Okay, this thing right now contains 4,691 vaults, and 94 of those vaults are considered National Historical Monuments.
Because they're how many years old? Damn.
Yes, they are how many years old?
Hundreds, 200? 100.
Actually, yeah, 200 years old.
I mean...
1822.
How long? According to, I don't know, how long... Does this get American standards since it's...
Well, it is South America.
Of 100 years, yeah. So it's over 100. It's good.
It's over 100, yeah.
It's haunted for sure.
Yep. Not quite the 500-year mark, but...
Yeah, that's only for Europe, I guess.
Yeah. Europe. They're 500 because that's where the history comes from.
Yeah.
Apparently.
So we don't know this. This is basic knowledge.
So what's funny is, like, it's not funny. This is actually not... The other cemetery was built in 1877.
Yeah.
Due to a yellow fever outbreak.
Yellow fever.
And they 1871. So La Recoleta was for like rich, well-to-do people.
Yeah, you got to pay to die there.
Pretty much. And so when this other cemetery was built, the bigger one,
the yellow fever was coming through.
Yeah, yellow fever was coming through. The reason why they built the other one is because the rich people didn't want anyone with yellow fever.
No, you can't mix that peasant. You were poor if you had yellow fever.
Yes. Apparently.
You can't be mixing that shit with the
But like this La Recoleta, if you've never heard of it, if you've never seen pictures or videos of it, this place is beautiful.
Yeah, it's
Like it's
the city of the dead.
It's this literal elaborate, like it doesn't even look like a cemetery. They built it like a small city.
Yeah, they got boulevards and avenues.
Right, and they used a lot of different types of art forms. There's statues all over the place in this thing. They used a different variety of architecture styles, including Art Deco, Art Nouveau, Baroque, and Neo-Gothic.
Neo-Gothic.
Yes.
I like that.
Most of the materials used for the cemetery were brought in between 1880 and 1930, and they were imported from Paris and Milan.
So, yeah, so there was a lot of French influence there, too.
Yes.
Like that was like the thing to be French influenced there. I don't know. It was in style.
Yes.
It was very much in style. French influence.
This cemetery is, like I said, it's huge, and it's literally, it's sort of plumbing. It's like a small city. Like all the mausoleums there are above ground. Nothing's underground. That means the same thing.
That's right.
But I mean, there's main walkways that branch out into sidewalks around the museums. Like it's literally, or mausoleums, not museums. But yeah, it's pretty much a small city inside of Buenos Aires. Like I said, this was kind of a rich place for people to be buried.
Yeah, so they got like presidents and actors and
Eva Perón, Evita was buried there. The founder of the Argentinian Navy is buried there. And there's also a military commando, Julio.
Commander.
Yes. See, it's like I said last week. Whoever's turn it is to like host the show, we don't know how to talk.
Can't English very good.
Can't English if we're the host. So one of these weeks, we'll get it right. But
Yeah.
not this week.
Can't wait till I screw things up next week. It's going to be a surprise for all of us.
Military commander Julio Argentino Roca is buried there. And then a lot of celebrities. One celebrity I believe you have on your list there, he was a boxer.
Yeah, we'll talk about him.
Let's talk about him.
Let's talk about him?
Yeah.
All right. His name, all right, and he died in the 1920s, is Luis Angel Firpo. And he was Argentina's most famous prize fighter. And one of his most famous fights was a controversial fight with Jack Dempsey. So I'm sure everyone's heard of Jack Dempsey, America. So I guess he knocked him out of the ring. And the controversy was because the ref was counting and was only to a 4 count when it should have been like 14.
Yeah.
He was just doing a real slow count. Everyone kind of pushed him back in the ring. And at the end of it all, this guy ended up losing the fight to Jack Dempsey. So, and that was like the biggest prize fight of his career.
Yeah, so
controversial AF, faux show.
One of the celebrities buried there. There was another, I don't know, this is not really a celebrity, but one of the other statues that they have there was this woman apparently had a grudge against her husband.
Yeah, because she was a shopaholic. So what happened was she was over here spending money everywhere, and this guy put an ad out in the paper that said he's not going to pay off any of her debts anymore, which of course he was still going to, but it kind of let shop owners know not to welcome her in their store anymore. So she stopped shopping. Well, I guess she held a grudge against him pretty much from that point on, and they didn't really talk much anymore after that. They slept in different rooms, and so the statues are like him sitting on a seat, on like a chair, and just her bust with her back against his. So they're not facing each other or side by side, they're back to back.
So yeah, I guess he passed away first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they never spoke to each other after this whole thing went down.
Yeah,
like for 30 years.
Yeah,
they didn't talk to each other, but they stayed married. I guess
the silent treatment champion.
Yeah, that's the ultimate silent treatment
champion. 30 years.
Yes, I mean that's amazing that you can do that, but. Yeah,
they deserve a statue for that.
She put it in her will that she wanted to be buried in his tomb, but in a separate vault, and have their backs turned to each other.
She's all, he ain't gonna pay my debts. I ain't talking to him no more. No point in this guy. That's That's some petty shit right there.
Yeah, it is. I guess when you have that kind of money, you can
I
do what
bet
you
he was
want.
probably thrilled. He was probably like, hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is the best time of my life.
So yeah, that's just a couple. Like I said, Avita is also buried there. And that's pretty much some of the famous. That's just a small example of the famous people. There's also the heiress. Do you want to talk about her?
Yeah, so she's got this is the statue of this woman with a dog, and the dog's nose has been like rubbed to where it's shiny. The whole statue looks kind of green except for the dog's nose that's like shiny brass.
I guess as people walk by, they kind of pet the nose of the dog.
You got to. So her name is Liliana Crociati de Siazek. I don't know. That looks Polish. I don't know. Anyways, she died tragically in an avalanche in Austria. Okay, that makes more sense. Austrian. Okay, she died in 1970, so this wasn't like too long ago. And she was only 26 years old, and she was on her honeymoon when this happened. Her parents were Her parents were so overcome. They laid her to rest. Let's see. They ended up, because of that, they commissioned this bronze statue, and in the bronze statue, she was in her wedding dress. And then later, her dog died a few years later, and so they added the dog statue next to her.
Yeah, and I guess they couldn't bury like the dog itself.
Yeah,
but for some reason they once they cremated the dog, they were able to put the dog's ashes there.
Yeah, no animal bodies allowed.
But cremated remains of the animal.
Yeah, if they're burned,
that's okay.
Then they're clean. They've been cleansed by fire. Everyone knows that. Basic knowledge.
That's just some of the statues, some of the artwork there at the cemetery. Now there is, let's see, in 2011, I know BBC held it as one of the best cemeteries in the world. And 2013, CNN listed it among the 10 most beautiful cemeteries in the world. And it's still used today by rich Argentinian families that already have like vaults there.
Yeah, they got family mausoleums. Because now that, they just cremate bodies, they can stuff thousands.
Yes.
So for generations to come, you got land in there to get thrown in.
So that's just kind of to give you an idea of like what the cemetery is like. There are a couple ghosts that are known to haunt the cemetery. I think one of the more famous ones is a girl named Rufina. And Rufina, she was only 19 years old when she passed away, and it was kind of a very tragic death.
Yeah.
She was supposed to be going out with her mom one night. They were going out to a show or something, and her mom came in and found her pretty much dead in her bedroom.
Or so she thought.
Yes. So yeah, it was kind of a surprise to her family. Like she's only 19 and she's just passed away. They actually brought in a couple doctors, and 2 doctors came in and confirmed that she was dead. So they took her to the cemetery there and they buried her. And I guess the night that she was supposed to be buried, there was a storm that came through and they had to postpone it because of the heavy rainfall. So what they did is they stored her coffin inside of one of the chapels. And the next morning, some of the caretakers came in and they found the lid to her coffin had actually been disturbed and it was sitting slightly ajar. And so they notified her parents.
I thought it was like disturbed more than that. I thought it was like moved around a little bit.
It might have been moved around a little bit. I know the lid was off a little bit. So it wasn't the way they left it, right?
Yeah.
Things
were askew.
It was, there was something afoot with Circle K. And they thought someone might have been tampering with her body. They thought that the grave robbers might have come in and were trying to steal the jewelry that she was going to be buried with. So they went ahead. I guess when they opened the coffin to kind of check things out, they noticed that her body, there were several bruises on her body that weren't there before. The wood in the coffin looked like it had been clawed and scratched at.
Scrod, yeah.
So it was scrod. Come to find out that Rufina actually suffered from this rare form of epilepsy that could render your body unconscious for hours.
But these doctors said that she was dead. What did they do to check?
I have no idea.
They didn't check for a pulse, that's for sure.
I mean, this was 1902, so I'm not sure that, I don't know what the medical community was like back then, but yeah, 2 different doctors said, yeah, she's dead.
Well, they had to bleed the demons out of her,
I guess.
probably, and with leeches, and then...
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. Yeah, so they found out that she was actually not dead. They buried her alive, and that was the reason why the coffin was kind of moved around and the lid was open, and she was trying to get out.
And then it was
she was unsuccessful in doing so. They think that she might have died from a heart attack from the shock of like waking up and you're inside a coffin. Like, can you imagine what that would be like? Like, you go to bed, or you're not even going to bed. Like, you just have an epileptic stroke and you pass out, and then when you come to, like, the next day, you're in a coffin.
This makes me wonder. This sounds like this was a known condition that she had. So her parents knew this. She was only having this seizure thing for a few hours. She wasn't dead, so her body wasn't like getting cold or anything. And they thought it was okay, because what had happened was they had to leave her at this mortuary overnight.
Yeah.
And
like I said, so she was a lot of rain, so they couldn't bury her properly.
Yeah, they were actually going to bury her already. Yeah. So she would have been buried, actually. So they postponed the burial and left the coffin at this left the coffin at this mortuary overnight, and that's where they found it like that the next day. And holy shit, that's just like, it sounds like the mom or the family just like purposely wanted her dead. Because,
well, no, because I mean, from everything I read, it sounds like they didn't know about the epilepsy thing. They didn't know that she had this rare condition, or at least the doctors didn't know. So I don't know. I don't know if her parents knew, but
I mean, it said that she was been like this for hours.
Well, yeah, she was unconscious. She was unconscious for hours.
But I mean, she's still breathing, and there's still a pulse.
Well, no, just the way that the seizure that worked, it literally
kills you.
Basically, it puts you in a comatose state where your body's not functioning the way it should be.
Well, I mean, okay,
it's like, so like you've heard the story of Romeo and Juliet, right? Where they take the thing that makes them appear dead, where it slows down their heart rate and their breathing and all that, and it makes them look dead. It's essentially the same thing. She had like an epileptic seizure, and it put her in this comatose state that made her, like, it would have slowed down her heart rate, it would have slowed down her breathing, so it made her look like she was dead.
But she wouldn't go cold, and she wouldn't rigor mortis.
But again, you got to think this is 1902.
They should know about bodies dying, and the poop comes out. If the poop don't come out, she ain't dead. Right. You know the poop comes out.
Yes.
So,
well, I can't. I'm not going to speculate on what the mindset of her family was. I'm just telling you what the websites say.
I feel like they were in
I don't think they were.
I think they wanted her dead.
I don't think they do.
Yeah, sounds like. I mean, the body's still warm. I would know that this.
Well, how do you know that? Where did it say the body was still warm? There was nowhere that said that.
Well, I mean, she ain't dead.
Yeah, she was in a comatose state.
It just means you're not dead, so your body's not going to rigor mortis.
But everything's slowed. Well,
so is she a zombie then?
1902. You're thinking it in today's terms of the knowledge that you have now.
I'm thinking about what,
like over 100 years
the knowledge we've been given sounds like they wanted her dead.
Right.
And they were just trying to get rid of her. And
I'm gonna 100% disagree with you on this. I think you're just making shit up at this point.
Sounds like they want her dead.
Nope, I'm going to disagree with you.
And then they're like, "Oh no, what did we do?"
That was why her mom ended up being so grief stricken about her death. That's why she put her in a different tomb and actually had a statue erected in her honor, showing like the door behind her and showing her like coming out of the door, so she would never have to
use that GoFundMe money somehow.
Yes,
that was that GoFundMe money.
I mean, and you're not going to be able to see it on YouTube, but that is the statue here that I'm showing you, Ghosty, that they built in remembrance of Rufina, with the open door behind her coming out of the door, so she'd never have to worry about being locked in a casket ever again. So I don't think that they knew about this condition. I think they found out about it after the fact.
I think
'Cause
1902, they still knew what happened to dead bodies back then. There was a lot of dead bodies back then. They just went through yellow fever.
This is true.
So they knew what
Well,
happened
and
to dead bodies.
she had been out for hours. Like I said, it puts you in a comatose state where you're in that state where everything just pretty much stops.
And she was, what, 19?
Yes.
So,
And this is probably
kids sleep so much at that age. Oh, my God, kids be sleeping.
Right. But you're still breathing when you're sleeping, and you're still, like I said, this is a comatose state. It fooled them into thinking she was dead. This is how, like, her body was.
They didn't bleed enough demons out of her then.
Clearly. So, anyways, after
doctors are horrible.
your bullshit you're making up here, it said that she still haunts the cemetery. She roams around the cemetery, just kind of doing her thing.
Just pissed off
Not really. She's just kind of there.
that her statues got a way out, but she didn't.
Yes.
I would be too. Poor Rufina.
Yeah. I'm glad that you think it's funny that she had this tragic death.
I don't think it's funny.
You're making jokes of it.
Make jokes of everything.
Okay, well,
Ain't nobody safe. Ain't nobody safe.
When you die, we're making jokes about you.
I hope so. I hope so.
Did you hear about the caretaker, David?
I heard some.
Aleno? I don't know how to say it.
Tell me about him.
Well, so David worked at the cemetery for quite some time, and he always wanted to be there, be buried there. He worked there for, I want to say, like 30 years. And during this 30 years, he saved up his money because I guess he wasn't well-to-do enough to actually, like, just buy a plot. So he saved up his money over 30 years. Finally was able to make the arrangements, buy a plot there at the cemetery. And once he had all of his arrangements made and was able to get everything secured, he committed suicide so he could be buried there at the
He
cemetery.
worked his ass off just to have a place to die.
For 30 years, yeah. Worked his ass off.
Just to die.
Just to
Literally.
Die. Yeah, this is literally like the day after. I don't know if it was the day after, but it was soon after he made all the arrangements and purchased his plot and everything. He went home and committed suicide. And, obviously buried there because he made all the arrangements. They say that he's still wandering around the cemetery, and you can hear his keys jingling like he's still going around doing his rounds, doing his caretaking job there at the cemetery.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. I mean, I would never do anything like that.
I know. What would be the point of that? I would have just... if he had this whole idea for 30 years...
Yeah.
That was his whole plan for 30 years.
Probably. I don't know if he planned on committing suicide at the end of it, but yeah, 30 years he worked at the cemetery, and once he got everything put together and...
I mean, he worked there for so long, he probably knew places he could have just went and killed himself, and his body would have been there for a long time.
Quite possibly. I don't know. I mean, he
went
probably
about it the hard way.
With this being a 14-acre cemetery, I'm sure he wasn't the only caretaker. He might have been the only one, like, assigned to a certain area, but yeah, it's crazy to think, like, you work your ass off for 30 years just to get into a cemetery, and they're like, okay, I got the plot I want. I'm done. Game over. Nothing else to live for.
Yeah, that's all I had. That's all I was living for.
That's trippy. I can't imagine, like, what kind of mindset you'd have to.
Isn't it ironic?
Don't you think? It's a little too ironic.
Yeah.
And I really do think. It's like rain.
Hey.
On your wedding day. Anyways, yeah, he's said to be haunting the cemetery as well. For this to be one of the most haunted places in Buenos Aires, if not the most haunted place in Argentina, I think it's a little odd that those are like the only two ghost stories I could find.
Exactly. When I was hearing about it, I'm like, why is this so haunted? Why is this talked about being so haunted when this is the only stories? And then the other one that's 17 times bigger that has more bodies doesn't have any stories.
Yeah, I don't know. I think this is...
It's a setup by the government.
It is. By the Argentinian government.
Yeah, you got to pay. You got to pay to play. You want a ghost story? How much money you want to donate?
Pretty much. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably just because it's more about the difference between the two cemeteries. Like, the other one is obviously not got the same architecture here at the bigger cemetery that this one has, that La Recoleta has. I mean, like I said, this looks like a freaking city. I mean, when you look at the pictures of this place, it looks like houses.
It looks like little buildings, and like when you look at the aerial view, it's pretty nuts. It looks like it looks like a miniature version of the city within a city.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
So I think there's probably more visitors that go there.
Yeah,
because of the architecture, and so you're gonna have more ghost stories. I mean, the other one is like it's 230 acres, but you probably don't have a lot of people spending a whole lot of time in that cemetery. They're probably just going to visit loved ones. It's like cemeteries here in Salt Lake. Like, yeah, we've got the one headstone that's like 666 Mark of the Beast, and then I think there's Porter Rockwell's. But there's only a couple cemeteries you actually hear. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there's like 3 cemeteries here in Salt Lake alone that people investigate or go talk to spirits at. You got the Fort Douglas Military Cemetery. You've got the Salt Lake Cemetery, and then we went to Mercer, and we're just like, this isn't haunted.
But there is that one in Salt Lake where you can get your butt grabbed.
Well, you can. I can't.
Anybody can. Anyone can get it. You got a butt, it can get grabbed.
This is true, I guess.
If it looks like a butt, it smells like a butt, it can get grabbed.
And if there's noisy teenagers, you can run and hide from security.
But you're still loud and you're going to get caught.
Yes. They did. We didn't. What? We've never done that. Anyway, yeah, I just don't. With this being like 200 years old, with all these celebrities and stuff that's buried there, I found it really odd that these were like the only 2 ghost stories. I mean, other than the woman in white that people say they've seen wandering around the cemetery. In my notes because I talked about this briefly
and this was supposed to be like where this whole story originated.
Yeah.
This woman in white who gets in the car, and then the guy goes to meet her another day, and then the family tells her that she's been dead for however long. And
okay, yeah.
Yeah, that whole woman in white story. That's where it originated.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, that's...
Apparently. Yeah, so they say. I'm not going to start any rumors.
I think it's funny. If you look at my notes here that because I talked about this briefly on another show that I was a guest on last year called Bacon Cell. When I put in the notes, many people have also reported seeing a lady in white. Underneath that I put, what else is new?
But this is the OG.
This is the OG lady in white.
It's apparently.
Allegedly. I just think it's funny though. Like you talk about a haunted place, and I don't know. I can't even name on one hand. There's so many places out there that claim to have like a woman in white, and I'm like, that's just so generic.
I wonder if some of the spirits, when they present themselves, are just kind of gray. Maybe. And so when it's black and white like that, they just look like she's in white. She could have been a light blue dress. It could have been violet. Who knows?
Yeah, we don't know.
But when it's all gray, it's a woman in white.
Clearly not the lady in black.
No.
That's a Sony Pictures horror film.
The first one wasn't bad.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't?
I haven't seen either one of them.
But it's got Harry Potter in it.
Okay.
Wow, you're missing out.
Still haven't seen it.
You're missing out. It's a good one.
You know what we should go see? Let's go see The Pope's Exorcist.
I'm going to go see Guardians tomorrow.
Do that.
And then that leaves me free to see The Pope's Exorcist tonight.
Okay. All right, so that's pretty much all we have on La Recoleta. I'll post some pictures, some of the statues and that on... You'll see it on the social media.
I wouldn't care about this place to go visit to do any paranormal investigating. I don't think this would be something exciting for the paranormal
I don't
side.
think so either. I mean, in my notes, I put that I wouldn't go there at all. And I think
just because it's far.
Just because it's far. Well, I really don't think it's that haunted.
No, I don't think it's that haunted. It doesn't make me want to. Yeah, there's nothing about this. There's no stories about it that make me want to go that far to go to the 7. I mean, if I was there in the area, I'd go check it out just because of the architecture.
The architecture. I mean, it is a really beautiful cemetery.
So I'd go for that, but only if I was in the area already.
Right.
Yeah, not for a ghost hunting trip.
I would agree with you on this one. I don't think it's that haunted.
Yeah. So, two ghosts down.
Yep.
Yeah.
two thumbs down.
Yeah, not haunted.
Not
haunted enough.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it's haunted. Pretty much any cemetery is haunted.
Yeah, there's gonna be spirits there, but there's not enough action.
Right.
Yeah, there's not enough butt grabbing for me. I can get that here. I can get that right here.
This is true. Just go outside.
Yeah, just walk down the street, get your ass grabbed by ghosts. It's the way to go.
Yep. Okay, well then, you should follow us on social media. We're evp.pod at Instagram and Facebook. If you've, for some reason, been to the Recoleta Cemetery, if you've had any experiences there, we'd love to hear about it. You can email us at evp.pod@gmail.com. If you are in the market for some ghost hunting equipment, you should check out our affiliate link to ghoststop.com. That is where we buy most of our ghost hunting equipment. And I'm actually looking to buy some more stuff. We're making another trip to the Ritz here soon, and we're going to try to do that sensory deprivation thing again. So
that's pretty dope.
We're also going to be buying some more gear to take on that investigation. So we won't do another whole episode on it, but if we get any new evidence, we will share it with you in a couple weeks.
You damn right we will.
So other than that,
that's it for the day?
I think that's it.
All right, well, Ghosty, don't play that.
Peace out, butterflies.
This is the EVP Podcast.